In this lab, we will be exploring how Centrify provides single sign-on services for Unix Linux hosts. We will focus on OpenSSH, and we will be working from client 1 using Jesse Matthews' account. In a previous posting, we talked about Kerberos for Kerberos to work. We need to have a directory service that provides a Kerberos environment like KDCs, key distribution, and whatnot, and policies. And all those services are provided by Active Directory. So let's first and foremost, let's take a look at what happens when you log in. We're going to launch the command line, and we're going to use the klist command to examine some of the Kerberos tickets that we got. So typically, ticket number 0 is what is called a Kerberos ticket granting ticket. That is a ticket that you can use to request additional tickets to access different hosts. An important one, like every computer, when you log in, you always checks for group policies. So one of the first tickets you're going to get is a CIFS ticket that corresponds to the domain controller that you logged in with. That's because at some point during the initiation of the session, the sysvol share was checked for group policies. So Kerberos is working in the back end and creating tickets. And the duration of these tickets and the Kerberos policy is defined as group policy. Typically, a ticket has a duration of 8 to 10 hours. So what happens when a Centrify system is joined is that the binaries for Centrify are installed, and also the shared objects that provide Kerberos integration, as well as the Kerberos libraries that we use. When a system is actually joined to AD, one of the things that happens is that Centrify will actually register some service principal names. So let's go ahead and take a look at CentOS 1. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the properties of CentOS 1. I'm going to go to the, of course I need to have the advanced features enabled so I can look at the attribute editor. So let's go ahead and take a look now. And in the attribute editor, I'm going to look for service. And in here I have the service principal names that were registered for this machine. Notice that a lot of SPNs are registered for this computer, but the most important one that we're going to look at it right now is host. And this is because when I go to my CentOS system, and I want to go ahead and log in as Jesse here, notice that I had to type in a password when I logged in here. Let's examine what's in the Unix side. So in the Unix side, I have, if I do the AD info command -c, -c, is going to show me some of the Kerberos principal information that was created, and in here you can see that this corresponds to that. Notice that also the encryption types that are defined in the domain are also listed here. So remember, we have a Kerberos environment. We have an LDAP directory where we stored the attributes, in this case the service principal names. We need to have a service that is also either Kerberized or supports the generic security services API. That's another way. At the end of the day, Centrify uses Kerberos, but if it's a Gssapi enabled application, it can also do it. So we are running SSH. So if I do SSHD -v, it's going to show me that I'm running OpenSSH 3.5.3. And I do happen to know that OpenSSH version supports Gssapi. So let's go ahead and take a look. So I'm going to go ahead and DZ-do because I need to elevate, and I'm going to grab Gssapi from the etc SSH and SSHD config file. Of course, I have to authenticate. This is Centrify enhanced sudo. And notice that the there's a lot of directives here that are commented, but notice that it says Gssapi Authentication yes. So I have verified that the computer has the proper service principal names. We have verified that the server, in this case OpenSSH, is Gssapi enabled. Notice that also Centrify provides a Centrify enhanced version of OpenSSH that supports Kerberos. But that's if only needed if you're using a very complex domain infrastructure. And by virtue of having Centrify, I already have the shared libraries and a PAN module. So the only thing that I need to verify to make sure that everything is working is that my SSH client, in this case PuTTY, supports in this case Gssapi. So we're going to go ahead and create a new session, and we're going to load the one for CentOS 1, and in this case we're going to check under the SSH connection. We're going to go to auth and we're going to click on Gssapi, and we're going to basically ask it to do to attempt the Gssapi authentication. And here, when we do this, what you'll notice is all I need to do is put in my login name, and I will get basically a silent sign-on with my AD credentials. I didn't have to type my password, and this is because of the Gssapi. If I wanted to make it so I don't even have to type a user, I could just go and modify my session and save the username here, and I get when I just launch the session, you get SSO. If this had been with Centrify enhanced PuTTY that also supports Kerberos, that will be the same effect. But again, what's the takeaways from this? Centrify leverages Kerberos, and also if the Gssapi is enabled, it can be leveraged too. And at the end of the day, you need a Kerberos or Gssapi enabled service, a client, and at the same time you need Active Directory, and that's already provided for you. In future postings, we're going to be talking about what about services like web and Java and others. And Centrify also provides SFTP clients that are already SSO enabled and Kerberos, so a lot of good stuff in there. This is all for this posting, and we'll talk in the next one.